Hey guys, welcome to the video on the update of the I9300XXLFB software update for the Samsung Galaxy S3 International version. I just opened up my phone this morning and saw there was a firmware update, and I'm totally on stock and I updated and I've noticed a few differences. So let's go over some of the differences that I've seen so far. First thing I've noticed is the lock screen and how fast it is. Before it used to lag on me quite a bit. And I've also seen a huge improvement for me on just performance. It's very snappy. It's much faster to me. There was a little bit of UI lag, which is kind of weird. Maybe it was just on my device alone, but I noticed that it started to lag up a bit. But since I've gotten to this update, the performance has increased quite a bit. So here's the big notable difference. Let me see if I can get it pulled down. You can see there's a brightness slider right in the notification tray and with auto brightness setting. So that's pretty nice, pretty handy. It's been kind of a mixed bag from what I've seen on XDA and everybody. Some people don't like it, some people do. But there's a new feature that's probably the most notable feature visually. Now here is a feature that has been on the US version of the Samsung Galaxy S3, but it has not been in the international version, and that's use extra volume for calls. That was kind of one of the biggest setbacks for me as well. I noticed that the earpiece wasn't very loud. So I'm so glad that they fixed this in this update, and I can show you an example of it right now. Let's just call it one handle number just to show you what it looks like. All right, Apple computers, we can go ahead and call them. And once you get connected, you will see that extra button there. So when you hit that, extra volume is enabled and it is much louder. And now that takes away any problems with the earpiece that I've had. The calls are nice and crystal clear and loud enough for me for my phone calls now. So I'm glad they put that into the international version since that's been on the US versions. Now here's something else that I've noticed, that when you hit the power, you now get volume settings and silence and vibrate. So that's pretty nice. That was not on there before. And I've also noticed, I have a hard time clicking here. I've also noticed that the keyboard is different. It's more rounded. It's a little bit different looking. No difference in functionality or anything. I heard swipe is working a lot better though. Okay, now you can also notice that the message bar here is a lot smaller. It's a little shorter, and you can delete individual messages now, which I was not able to do before. And there you go. You can see that you can do that. So that's an improvement also to the SMS functions. Another notable change are some of the widgets here that you can see. And let's flip through them. And I just noticed there were a few minor widget changes to the calendar. You can see that there's a month, task, and there's a few different ones there. And to me, the most noticeable one is, there's all share as well, the two different clocks. I've noticed that there's a smaller clock one compared to the regular 2x1, and that's the one that I've been using now on mine, right there in the middle. So you can see how much of a difference that is. It's a nice feature. Another thing that I've noticed also was how fast the camera unlocks from the lock screen if you have this enabled, or you twist it like this and it launches the camera almost immediately. I used to have about a 3-second delay on that, but they've improved that very much, so I really like it. And if you look here, there's a new wand there now with more features and more filters for you to use live. So if you look over here, you can see blue point and green point, and that's pretty cool. That was not in there before. And let me try to show you an example of blue point. Let me try to bring this over here, and you can see how fast the focus is on here. And green point, you can see a little bit of green there. It'll try to isolate the colors there. Let me bring in try that again. No, nothing. So let me try to bring in something else. Let me see what else I have here. Let me just bring in a can of soda, and let me see, that's got more colors on it. Turn this can around. And you can see there with green point, you can see how it enhances those colors. So that's a pretty neat feature on the camera, and the camera firmware did get upgraded with this update. And here are some of the other filters that I will go through. No noticeable differences in shutter speeds or camera quality or anything like that, but if I find a difference, I will update this video to reflect the changes. All right, now if you go into the home screen wallpaper change, if you go into a static wallpaper, let's just pick one of these, you can now, hold on, yeah, let's just pick one of these, and if you change it into landscape orientation, you can see that there's a landscape option now in wallpapers. So you can see how far it stretches out. So if you have a landscape launcher, you can really take advantage of the landscape images. So let's take a look at something else. Another problem that I was having a lot also with the browser was I was getting a redraw issue when I was on the browser for an extended amount of time. And I've noticed that if you go on multiple websites, or if you're just surfing the web for a while, and the browser's fast anyway and it's great, but the problem I noticed is that after I was on there for a while and opened up some multiple windows, that I would have a redraw issue. When I would hit the home button, it would take a little while to relaunch and populate, but I have not been able to recreate that, so that's great. That was one of the major gripes that I've had with it, so I'm so glad that they've fixed this in this update. So I have not been able to recreate that. Another thing I've seen is that it might have been only isolated on my device, but I noticed a little bit better performance with extensive graphical live wallpapers. There's still a little bit of stutter there compared to the static wallpapers, but it's a much improvement. Before, it was lagging pretty hard that I could not use this one in particular wallpaper, so looks like it's a good performance improvement. All right. And also, you'll notice that there is no more brightness setting on the browser. It is now tied into the system, which I like. I really did not like the separate browser brightness setting, so now it's just tied into one brightness setting, which I think it should be. I'm glad that they've done that. Sorry for this banding issue that you see there, the refresh issue. It is on the lowest brightness setting at this point, so that's probably why it's showing on camera. And also something new here is vibration intensity. I have not noticed this before, that you can set it for incoming calls, notifications, and haptic feedback. That is a thing that I didn't see before. So sorry if that wasn't there in previous. But I also noticed that I got a bump in my quadrant score. I just ran and got 5572 when I was getting about 5300 before. So if you found any more things in this new update, leave a comment below, and please subscribe to my channel, for I have a lot more videos on there, and I always appreciate you watching my videos. Thank you very much.